Hey guys, what is going on? So basically this is what I do on a Saturday. I made a few old videos of it, but I think an updated one might be useful. So yesterday was Friday evening when the markets were shutting down, and essentially part of my 3-step weekly process is basically just between the ones I've chosen, I'll then kind of filter through them and then see what I want to put on watch, which you'll see over here, what I want to have on watch, additional pairs, and then soft watch. Usually I do try to go on 6 max with soft watch maximum 2. However, sometimes you get less. It is what it is. I don't over exceed it though, unfortunately, for those who do like to have a lot of stuff on, because I know I've seen it with a lot of traders. They do like to have a lot of pairs on, which is completely fine, you know, each themselves. But for myself, I do like to just follow strictly what I've been told. So it works for many people. It's how I'm doing it now. Unless I've been told different, I'm gonna always continue doing it. So these are the ones that I've really chosen, and I'll go through them after. I'm just gonna look at the ones that I didn't filter on, and then just kind of get a better understanding why. Because sometimes in the moment you might filter through, make a decision on why you might not want something, and then all of a sudden your perception changes, and all of a sudden you do want to see those sort of pairs because you see something that you didn't see before. So that's one of the major reasons why I would say that it's useful to do this process multiple times. Build it as, form it as a very good habit. That's basically what I'm saying. If you form good habits now, they'll basically essentially benefit you later. So one thing I did like is we had a correction like that, which pretty much, yeah, similar pullback. I wonder if we do get some sort of pullback here. This is what I would probably wait for personally if I was going to take a trade here, is I would wait to see if this then develops, or this just continues to correct but upwards into this trend line and then sells off. Like I said, it's not really my type of trade. Not Aussie Swiss. Aussie Swiss did have a very good opportunity last week though, I have to say. Two or three good trades actually, to be fair. So let's just go off the bat and say we missed this one, right? Then there was a trade opportunity in here, but what I did really like, oops, wrong, is this. So if I just take that out for a second and we have a look at it, we did have the element of this, which was very nice. Now this is the 15, so you are looking at it more refined, but this is the time frame I would be executing on once we had the completion of this. And then within here, you could have actually taken it right at the top. There was actually, if you understood how to trade this way, you would have taken it. There was this little inflection point here, but I wouldn't be too concerned with it. But there was enough, you could mitigate against it. Yeah, I would probably put around about 12.5-ish. Yeah, that's about a good amount. And until about here I would have locked in about 1% around about here. So when we got around about here I would have locked in around about there, and then as we dropped around about, not quite where I would want to see it, yeah, I wouldn't have locked anything in just yet. If we dropped till around about here, that's where I would have got a little bit more aggressive with it. But looking at it now, I would probably still have about 1% locked in. To be extra safe, you could just lock in 2, just because, you know, you don't really know what could happen. But this could actually turn into a continuation here, and if you did get something like that where price did do this, I don't think I would hesitate on that entry. That would make a lot of sense, because then what you'd be looking at on Aussie Swiss, which personally I think this was a stunning trade in here. This was absolutely 10 out of 10 for me. It's just, you know, didn't have it on watch. You've got this section here, which will just be its own entity, which is technically coming from this. And then you've got this as its own entity as well. And then you've got this, which is a little bit more steep in my opinion. Not something that I would be my go-to, but it's there in sequence. So if you look at it in this sort of section over here, this makes a lot of sense. You know, got pull back, large flag, continue, and we may just see it, but just angle is not really the best, I'll be honest with you. Like, we are kind of going sideways in a sense, but this still makes a lot of sense, you know. We're just trickling in that direction to the downside. So you know, that is still a good possibility. I mean, I could consider it, but considering in the sort of descending sort of nature it has, this has overall become quite corrective. I mean, I would consider it, to be fair. Something to see. So once again, you know, you go through it in a different unit of time and you see something different. So this one here was a bit of a tricky one, because I saw that Aussie yen tapped into the high, and when it came back over here, sorry, when it left the footprint, it didn't completely fill it, which isn't always necessarily the case. We don't have to, but sometimes it's a clue that we could be coming back up. So understanding that that's a possibility, I wouldn't let that keep me out of the trade, because there's still room for this to play, but just understanding that, you know, there is the probability that we could go higher. Subjective first touch, so I'm not really set on that. Over here we have this sort of pattern here. Once again, I would give this time to develop, because you really don't know at this stage what's really gonna happen. So I would say, you know, for me personally, I'll just stay on the one. Probably look at it as, you know, we've pretty much come back into the area of interest. We have come in with some level of very messy structure right now. I think personally what I will do is I'll just leave that there. Understand that this could be two tops. Scoop, comes back down, sells, you know, that's a possibility. But yeah, it's not really my corrective price action that I'm looking for, really. You know, them wicks put me off a lot as well. That, you know, we're just not really getting the solid sort of momentum to the downside that I'm looking for, because a lot of the time these wicks are shouting that, you know, this probably won't go as long as I expect it to. So I will probably just leave this one out for me. It's not really a me trade. If the price did tap into this, it would be a different situation, where I would then be looking, if we already broke that, came back in, and then started pushing, and let's say we were down here somewhere, then I would understand that we could have something like this, you know, that we could be moving further to the downside. But at the moment, like I said, there's nothing there to really jump out to me. This can still form into what we assume right now to be a larger flag anyway. This is not my typical sort of forecast anyway. You know, like I said, I'll give this time. It's already corrective on the way up. You know, we've literally been getting there over time. Looking at the other yen pairs as well, I just can't see this being completely ready just yet, so I'll give that time. Yep, Aussie New Zealand, I already have that one, which I'll go through those in a minute. CAD Swiss, yeah, I did look at this. Not really my pair. I rarely have this one on watch, and when I do, you know, it's in a good value area. But like I said, the Swiss pairs are looking pretty good these days. Yeah, it's just one of those where I think you just need to give it some time to materialize. Nothing on here that jumps out to me. I would leave that alone, wait to see if we do create a floor down there. If we do come back down into this, that's where I might be interested in entertaining a trade in that area, and then look at it as one big larger pattern here. Like I said, this doesn't even need to stop here. This could just, you know, create something like that and then come into here, push down lower, and then come back up eventually. You know, there's more than enough here for this to just sell now, and we are selling. So like I said, I wouldn't bank all of my attention on this trade, because it's now in that point where it could just pull back and get messy. So for that reason, I'm not going to really entertain that. CAD yen. CAD yen, on the other hand, does have some really good potential. I think the really nice thing about it is we could be trading back into that ray line. How we pushed away was pretty good. We pretty much have been trying to push. Yeah, just analyzing this, it's not really the one for me at the moment. There could be a lesson in here for me to maybe make a tweak, but like I said, I would be more inclined to wait for this to get up to these areas, to then look for some short opportunities, which won't be anytime soon. So for that reason, I probably would touch that. Swiss yen. Swiss yen on the other hand, like I said, right now we're trading on the 11th. We've got some time, perhaps maybe this could shape up this week. Friday, who knows? But I'm interested in the daily value area. That's the main important thing for me, because that's basically coming into all-time highs. The only negative confluence is that we may just correctively squeeze sideways for 3 days, come back down, and then be in this area and not even come anywhere close to it. But we're trading so close to it, it would be negligible for me not to be just keeping an eye on it to see what would develop. And then yeah, just going to EuroCAD, which I'll go into the ones that I've highlighted with pink and green and orange. EuroCAD, same situation really, I think, with Swiss yen, but the only issue is this isn't like the value area I'm looking for. But I don't see why you wouldn't want to pay attention to it. Like, yeah, we are clearly going to the upside, but there is the possibility. I mean, really and truly, looking for shorts here is somewhat dangerous, but look how we've been trickling to the upside. There is an element there, but like I said, it's tricky. It's tricky. It's something that I would probably put on soft watch, to be honest. What I'll do is, let's see. Yeah, it could be shaped. I'll leave it on pink. We'll see if I'll filter it in for something else, or probably not, to be honest. But I'll put it in there just to have a look at it. Looking at Euro Swiss, definitely not. Euro Yen. Yeah, Euro Yen, definitely, like I said, looking at CAD Yen and stuff, it just looks like there's some more bullish momentum in it. And the only time I would really look for a short, because I know that a lot of people would be looking at something like this right now and think, okay, there's a 1, 2, 3, we could be looking for a short. And I'll tell you why this can save you some money from not making this mistake. Is we're not really reaching any value area. You know, if that, I mean, that's not really the best, but if that formed at the top and it broke above, then we would kind of understand that there was an element to a reversal there. But at the moment, we're just kind of in this sort of running channel to the upside. So I don't think that you should look at shorts in this area. You should only wait for it to get to that area, which, yeah, for sure, it could be at some point next year. Why not? But, you know, you're protecting yourself. You're better off looking for, I'll just show you. You're better off looking for this. We kind of do have an expanding here, which works as a continuation or reversal. And you get that, and that would make so much more sense. You know, you've clearly pushed it out, you create continuation, and you're gone. Let's see, Euro, New Zealand. Like I said, yen pairs can sell off next week. You know, there is some news there, but don't expect this to be the trade that goes like this and just goes. Like, don't be looking for that. Don't be looking for this trade into here to here, because I doubt that is the play. Really, really doubt it. And if it is, there'll be an abundance of opportunity to take advantage of. But at this moment in time, I would just look at it as not even with an ascending channel there, because I think that would then make you think something that it's not. Yeah, it's just like I said, it's one of those ones where I think you need to zoom out and you just need to evaluate what you're trading into. Right now we're not trading into anything, so the real question is, okay, fine, even if we did pull back, we could create this. So then you have to ask yourself, like, would you not rather wait for something like that, or would you not rather wait for a push down continuation and then price to go with it? So those are some serious questions you need to think about. And yeah, they could take days to shape up, but that's why you don't put it on watch, so you don't force yourself to take shitty trades. This could get there, to be honest, to this point, but I'm very convinced that we're probably going to go further. I'm not looking like we did have the element of the 1, 2, 3, but I think with this pullback now, I don't want to be stuck in that. If we were going to commit, the commit would have been down here. We didn't get that. Pullback. Something really would have to happen like this for me to want to actually take this trade. So I don't think I'll take that trade at all. I'll leave Euro New Zealand out. This one's a little bit messy actually. Let me just zoom in. Yeah, that's where I was last week. Okay, cool. So basically, looking at this on a weekly, we can see here, and this goes into the DXY, which I missed actually. And I'll go into EURUSD actually in a minute. So eager to look at these pairs because they look so good. Let me put the analysis back on. And then GA. GA was looking nice, really, but I just thought, nah. Not during New York session. Probably going to be early Asian session. If we go, we might see something like 2 AM or something. Pretty much move from around about here. So what I'll be looking at is to just see this kind of. Oh, it's 2 AM. Oh. You wake up in the morning, it's already going, and you're thinking, maybe I could take that. You know, all of this nonsense, but that's a massive stop loss. Yeah, I didn't want to take GA. I did like GA over here, but then I don't know, for some reason my broker was showing me some different data, and it put me off, so I wasn't interested in it. Anyway, like I said, GA has got potential. I just think it's a bit messy, but this can shoot. That's the one thing you have to realize, that if this goes, yeah, you might be in for a treat. So this might just drop in a little bit here and then just go, you know. Next thing you know, we're trading up here, and then you're thinking to yourself, like, why didn't I take the trade here? So I wouldn't worry about those type of trades because, like I said, it's not the best of trades right now, and look how we're kind of getting this, like, very big pullbacks. What if it just drops like this and then goes? Do you want to be in that price action, really? Because think about it. Yeah, it would be lovely if you got in here, fine, I would understand that, but to get in there is actually quite difficult. Like, you're not gonna be able to anticipate that that is where we're going to be getting out. It's not so clean. There is probably some clues in price, but like I said, you've got to really decipher it. Yeah, I don't know, man. Something that if you can really break through this, I'll be interested to know how you were deciphering GA, because like I said, there's this high meets with that low, this correction meets with that correction. That's all I could really see. You know, this area of value came in, took out liquidity from here, pushed back up, came back down, took out liquidity from this area, but you don't know where your reference point is really and truly. Alright, GBP Swiss. Now, I do think GBP Swiss just isn't ready. I know there is the potential for us to potentially look for continuation to the downside, and I think we're not in the best area to be looking for a head and shoulders as well. So yeah, it's not something that just jumps out to me and says, hey, listen, this is the trade. Like, the sequence is a bit off for me as well. You know, we we did have this, which was nice, and then we just got very messy. There was a larger flag here. Very difficult to decipher though, but like I said, there is a sequence to it. It's just not my typical sequence that I'm looking for, and it is known to be quite a corrective pair, so keep that one aside. GJ long again. You see, like, that's one of the reasons why those ascending channels, I'm not really too convinced with them, because let's just say we have an element of this, and if this is going to go long, we're in this correction, and then all of a sudden news comes, gets a bit volatile. Well, oops, not like that. Gets a bit volatile, and then we shoot. Like, you're going to see the other yen pairs gear up as well. And looking at JP225, which I'll just quickly jump onto now, like, does that really look like we're going short? Not really, you know. We're seeing very typical sequence here. You know, push, correction, push, correction, push, correction. Okay, the corrections are getting smaller, which is a good sign, but we could just have one more push and then we could go. And I think this is something that's just very, very important to realize, that, you know, this could actually be not your nicest, but this could be your go-to right now, where we could see this push up for one final push, and then the yen pairs gear up when they hit their high value areas, and they will start to sell together. So bear that in mind. I just think GJ just not yet ready yet, but if they do get the push, you know, we could see this skyrocket a little bit more. There's a lot of room for yen pairs to go higher as well. Understand that. Don't think that the yen pairs have to sell. Like, we could be in a completely different market cycle. Look at GJ historically. It's been very, very good on the shorts. I'll just flip the chart for a second. Look how much room, if we're looking at it to the downside here, but this is to the upside. If we're looking at it to the upside, so much room to move. So bear that in mind. There's a lot of room for these pairs to move, and we don't have to be looking for shorts all the time. We can flip our bias and look for the longs, and I think that's ultra important. Okay, so GN is one that I've been eyeing up a lot, I'll be honest with you. I've been really drilling down on this one and trying to get into a short position, and then there's always the area over here that we just didn't fill, and I think, yes, that is a possibility as well, because there is a point of sale over here where it would make sense for this to go. However, if I go to the 4, and you can see this on the 4, we did have very strong momentum to the downside. Then we came in over here. This doesn't look like my typical sort of price action to short, and I'll be honest with you, I'll take this aside. And if we just look at this, this is starting to look like we are getting some sort of channel like that to go higher. Yeah, I mean, GN had its chance with me, to be honest with you, had its chance. Now it's just not really, it's not really my most interested pair. It was looking good, but like I said, this was just a small little value area we tapped into. We did this, we pushed down. If this continued and we started having a run, fair enough, but now it's just becoming this sort of messy price action. You know, you have to ask yourself, like, where am I getting into the market and why? And I can't see the positioning is on point here, so I'm going to leave that one for now. I hope that this, by next time I look at it, we're up here somewhere. If we do have this though, and we correct, and then by next week we have something like this, then I could understand that there's many variations still at that point, but we could have something like that that meets like this, and we could see a shorting position. But I think this gap up here is a very big clue. Then we've got GN and New Zealand CAD. Not too sure at all. New Zealand Swiss and USD Swiss. USD Swiss looked great, to be honest. There was some good trades in there. There was one that I was eyeing up right here, where we basically tapped into this and then we shorted, and then we actually had a 1, 2, 3 element to it as we pushed away, which was really cool. And it was over here. So we had this, better drawn on here, and I think that took away the subjectiveness of this trade, but like I said, we had that, and then we had this, and then there was the possibility that this was going to be good to go. So I think, you know, seeing that first one, even if you took this with a good protection, you could have probably still been in this, because what you would have, if you were tight, you would have gone 15. If you put on a bit extra, you could have probably just got away with it. But really and truly, it's one of those ones where you'd probably take a break even looking back on it. And yeah, did I show you Aussie Swiss? I must have shown you Aussie Swiss. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I haven't yet. No. And then this is USD ZAR. I don't actually have this on the fund I'm trading on, so I can't trade it at the moment. One day I will be trading it again, because I do think it's a very, very nice pair, but I'm just unfortunate at the moment. No. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is take a small break, and then we're going to jump straight into the pairs that I do have on watch. Alright, awesome guys. So we have filtered through the pairs. Now what I'm going to do is, before I go to the green and the orange list, I'm just going to go for the DXY and the JP225. So the DXY essentially has, and I'll just look at it on the weekly again just to zoom out, so for people who are not aware, we have come into this liquidity area and we've sold off. Now we haven't tapped into the high value area, but this technically could be more than enough to sell. It's just we've been pulling back. Now we pull back 50% off this impulse, which is a valuable area. However, we do technically have this little bit above it, so we must also be aware that we can push higher. So just to understand that, and I'll put this ray line back on over here, just so that you can understand that price could come back up there, right? But we've really tapped into this, so job done, and we did get rejection from it. However, how we pushed away wasn't really the most progressive. What would have been nice if we did have a strong selling candle pressure like this, and we had similar price action to this. That's basically the price action we would have wanted to see from this area, which would have then just confirmed this whole thesis. But due to the corrective nature here, this does look like, you know, we have another run to the upside. If we go into the 4, we can then see a little bit closer that price did come into here for 1, 2, 3, right? And then had the element of going back up. We did kind of come back up with a corrective 1, 2, 3 with a middle section here, and then we sold off. Now, if that doesn't make sense to you, don't worry completely, because you just need to kind of get more familiarized with patterns, pattern recognition, pattern positioning, reversals, continuations, and essentially all of this, which will come in time. And if you don't know where you can study that and where you can get direct information, you can always drop me a message and I can point you in the right direction. Looking at this, where you kind of go into this liquidity area over here, so disregarding this whole structure up here, we've tapped into that liquidity area after completing this structure, which is essentially making a 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth touch, which occasionally does happen. Sometimes we can even have 5 touches, but the majority of the time we have 3, and 3 is enough. But sometimes we do have 4. And the reason for the 4th is we were just tapping into additional liquidity. There wasn't enough liquidity, so the market seeks the liquidity, and then we're going. So everyone was trying to get long in these areas because they saw this 1, 2, 3, and then the market just couldn't. And that's usually the reason why we pull back, because the market seeks more liquidity, or we're developing a structure like this. So this was more than enough. This is the 4 hour as well, you know, more than interesting when you drill in closer, but the 4 is enough at the moment. We can see we tapped into this liquidity and then we started pushing away. We did get a continuation over here, but now we're stalling in this area at the top of this expanding, which is more than enough, because an expanding with an expanding is making this even more powerful to go to the upside, so increasing the probability of this trade playing out. What we're waiting for right now, and keeping this very simple, is essentially we're just waiting to see if we can tap into this area one more time, or if we push a little bit lower before we go. But like I said, there's more than enough for this trade to go long. However, there is the possibility, because expandings also work as a continuation or a reversal, so we could be going to the downside, to basically create this larger pattern here, or we could be going to the upside. So don't get stuck with a bias here. It's a very neutral area because of the nature of this pattern. However, we must also understand that the larger picture is pointing to the upside at the moment to fill this. This is a descending nature pattern, so because of its nature, we are going to potentially see this push up. And like I said before, this could still make its way all the way back up here. It doesn't have to sell from this area. It's just, given how price was before, it made sense for it to sell. But at this point in time, I wouldn't be surprised if we do go long. So bear that in mind. JP225, pretty much the same situation. No real time, dude. Okay. Yeah, so we're basically moving to the upside. So it looks like things are getting very bullish. But however, as we know, there's a recession. There's lots of problems going on in the market. There's a war going on. A lot can change in the market overnight. And something I've been told as well, you don't want to be holding too many overnight positions as well. Because as you've seen multiple times before, the last thing you want to be waking up to is something like this. I mean, it's not going to drop that many candles, but you don't want to be caught on the wrong side of the market because of some major news. So keep that in mind. But overall, this is looking really, really nice. And yeah, it's just a matter of time. Like, this is going to move, and then when it does move, we can look for the shorts later. But sometimes shifting your bias is probably your best bet. Looking at the weekly as well, the weekly is doing very, very well. Like, we had the strong push away. We retraced, I think that's about 50% of this candle as well. So, it's very interesting how things like this pan out. Now it's a very pivotal point to see if we continue to the upside or if we sell off. So there is enough to say that this could sell, but however, at the same time, there's enough here to say that we could go long. So we're in a very neutral point of view. Going into the first one, which is Aussie CAD. Looking at Aussie CAD on the weekly, we can see we have a very, very nice weekly retrace after 3 bullish candle drive. Then we had a full retrace over there, which is also very nice. Going into the daily, we can see that we have nice full-bodied price action. These big candles, which are also very nice. Then we go into the 4, also representative of that, and then we can see that there is a potential for this to develop into a larger flag. And then we go into the 1, and then we can actually see it a little closer. So 1 does feel a little bit too zoomed, but it's enough. If we do get that expanding without tapping into the low, that would make a lot of sense, and that would be very nice. If we do get a flag like this, that's also very nice. There's a lot of potentials, and the structure will be evolved, so there's no correct or wrong way to draw it, but we just have to understand that there is a lot of potential in the market right now for this. So looking at it on the high time frame, once again on the daily, where we'll be looking at market direction, we pushed up against this and we've aggressively come back in. So there's no way to say that this cannot come all the way back down here. Absolutely can. And I think that's one of the reasons why Aussie CAD is going to be filtered onto my watch. Then I've got Aussie New Zealand. Once again, another very good pair. So if we look at it on the weekly, we can see that we had strong weekly retrace, pushed above, pushed back in. I'll just remove this. And then we retrace. This has kind of got that evening star sort of feel to it, but more than likely it's better because we've broken below this and we've closed on the weekly with a strong body. Now there was a bit of corrective sort of stalling in this area, but these candles are still looking very, very nice on the bear side. I will be looking at it on the 4, where I am looking to just see the variation. So number 1 is, do we correctively come back into this area? Then how do we form? Because we won't have 2 bottoms at that point, I won't be looking for the second touch here. I'll be waiting for a 3 touch. But the other question I have is, if this doesn't play, then we drop and then we come back up with a 1, 2, 3 into this area, then I could be looking for a potential risk entry, insurance entry. Very, very simple, and that's one of the main reasons why I have this on watch this week. However, like I said, it's not my most favored sequence because this can get larger. So like I said, this would be more one that I would keep on the side, not on my main 6 watch list, just to see how it develops and then get involved. But the price action leading up to it is very nice. I do apologize, I must have been doing a lot of analyzing on this one. So I'll just keep it very simple. We have a low over here on the daily, we have a low over here on the daily, and then we tapped into this daily value area. Simple. Okay, then we go into the next point where we see, okay, cool, this was basically the beginning of this corrective squeeze lower. We aggressively pushed up, we aggressively pushed back down, and now as a first point price target, I am eyeing up this point here. So if you want to just put on your annotations, you can, which I'll probably be doing after this anyway, which I usually do my annotations on the Sunday with my notes, and then I put it into my Notion, but I might just do a little bit of annotations today, who knows. So yeah, so that's the value area there, and then we push into here. So if I drill into the 1 hour now, which I think is completely fine because the 4 is giving me permission, just eyeing up how we've aggressively pushed here. Now I'm looking at this section here. I will be looking for 2 bottoms, 2 tops, but understanding that we could, you know, something could develop in here as well, and it gets a little bit messy. It is what it is. More than likely, I'm just going to keep it very simple right now, and Rayline, and I would just like to see how this develops here. Does this come in again? Then do we come back up? You know, there's a lot of things. This could just drop, come back up, and then this goes. I wouldn't be surprised with Aussie US dollar that we might just get something like this, and then, you know, kind of just, I don't know, man. It's one of those ones where you just really gotta wait for price to give you a clue, and then, you know, if price aggressively gets up here, pushes back down, gives us a flag here, I wouldn't hesitate on that really. I would understand that, you know, fine, it's not the cleanest, but it makes sense. And that's the most important part there, because this is correctively squeezing to the downside at the moment, not sustainable. But like I said, like, keep that as the range. Just wait, look for 2 bottoms, 2 tops. Keep it very simple, and then you can go to your trading plan and look for your entry criteria. But it's not like I said, it's not the best. Like over here, this made sense. You know, if I take this bit of price here and you look at it like that, at the beginning you wouldn't have known that it was, you had this drawn on here, you wouldn't have seen anything else. You would have just looked at it like this. You would have understood that there was an element of a head and shoulders here, right? And you would have then drawn this on, and you would have seen it like that. And then you would have waited for the 15, which would have been here. 15 is debatable, but you could have taken it here for sure, you know. And I would have put some extra protection just to be safe. Call it 15. And that's the trade you would have pretty much taken. Not locking in break even just yet, and still I'll probably have break even set, but I won't be running 1% just yet. And now I think around about here, yeah, I'll be locking in 1% here. You could be more aggressive because you're at the low, but I wouldn't want to choke this because we know the high time frame picture. Wouldn't be managing it on the 15 for sure, but understand that that's the low. You would have pretty much had a ray line on here for that range that we have over here, and I'm just demonstrating this because if we get something similar over here, you'll know how to manage it. You could have even taken the 1 hour retrace over here, that 1 hour candle there. That was definitely applicable, even the second one, but more so this one. And then yeah, if you just let it play out a little bit more, you would have, yeah, still been in there with the 1%, and then at this point you could have started becoming a little bit more aggressive. Yeah, so if you were a bit more aggressive, you could have, yeah, probably, in my opinion, would have walked away with around about 2%. The only reason I say that you would have been more aggressive is because the thing is, right, at this point here, when we came up here and you almost got tagged out, right? You had 1% locked in, and you almost got tagged out, and then we committed and we went down. This is the point where you have to ask yourself, like, okay, if we don't go from here, and it wouldn't have been that point. It would have been, I think it was the next candle when we just pushed under it, when we closed under. Yeah, this one. So that's when you would have moved to 2. If we don't commit from here, then this is just going to become something larger, and you don't want to sit in this. So you then have something like this drawn on, and you'd ask yourself, like, I don't want to sit in that sort of PA. So then you'd let that kind of do that. It would have taken you out and then dropped. Fine, fair enough. You would have walked away with 2. The odds are, if this ran to around about 3.5%, you wouldn't have sat here with break even. You know, you could have gotten away with, yeah, no, you couldn't. You know, and now we're here. So just understand that that is possible, and I've seen it a lot with Aussie US dollar. So, you know, just bear in mind that sometimes you get this and then you get another one within it, and it gets messy. So now we're analyzing the next structure here, which we're currently in. Understanding how that just played, you could be seeing something similar, right? We set that footprint over here. Now we're looking at some internal structure. So what we'll be looking at to see is, do we drop? You know, something like this could even happen, and it will be very similar to that one, but more than likely I would be eyeing up something to just understand that we have this element which we saw over here, and then that would be the makeup of this structure. So bear that in mind. I think that's good. I think that's really good. So like I said, I'm not going to keep anything drawn on because it's too early to speculate, but it's understanding that what happened over here is really important. So I'm going to just put that one on watch as well. I don't tend to actually always put it on watch. You see how I have order written here? I usually put them in order, and then I take the top 6, put them in, and then the rest of them I put them in order, and then filter out whichever ones I don't want. But this time I'm not doing it, but just wanted to let you know that's how I usually look at it. So this 1, 2, 3, I've already analyzed this. I'm really happy with that. Daily value area, we've pretty much correctively kind of come back up to it. This is the fall. We can see that we're not really at that value area, so I will be waiting for the daily /4 hour confirmations on this. I would like to see how this develops before I even take advantage of it, but it's looking pretty good. This could end up for one that comes up late week, so for that reason we could even get a strong push up, which I'll be very inclined for, and then a push back down, which I think is really good. So for Aussie Swiss, but for Swiss yen, but we also know it's a strong possibility that we're seeing across the board with these yen pairs that it could go long. So like I said, this one, and I'll just do the ordering process for now. I've put at the bottom of my list, even though we're coming into that value area, just understand that. So this is why it's also good to be filtering through, because if you have your watch list on for the week and you've got like 20 pairs on watch, have you really done the filtering properly? Like, there's a reason why you do it, to keep yourself out of the shitty trades, or there's a reason why I do it, but you know, that's something you have to ask yourself. So Euro Aussie, actually, I really like this one. So if you look at it on daily, we're coming up with strong momentum into this. This is what we were thinking was the right shoulder. Didn't get the commitment just yet, which is completely fine. But we're coming up with this sort of V shape into this level here with massive momentum, impulse correction, and we're just running into this, which I'm really liking. But we haven't really had any major pullbacks yet, so I would like to see how price reacts from this. If we tap into it just like that and push down, get continuation, fair enough. You know, this is just one, but this is trickier one, because with this momentum, you just don't know what the bigger picture is. You look at it on the daily and you're like, wow, okay, that's a big momentum run for maybe something like this, where now we just go into a very corrective phase, which tends to happen with EA quite a lot. We get these big runs and then we just correctively squeeze for like a week, 2 weeks. So just bear that in mind, that that's a possibility as well. Accumulation, so I'm going to just let that run. I think I'm happy with this one to have it on watch as well. Let's see, so yes, Euro USD, I think very pivotal point, as we saw with the DXY, vice versa. I'll just flip the chart so you can see it the same way we looked at the DXY. We had that little point we came into. The structure is slightly better on on Euro USD, but let's just quickly clean this off and you can see it. So what happened was we tapped into this value area and pushed away, so we are looking for longs. However, we can see that we did have this sort of hook point value area here where we came in for 1, 2, 3 and rejected, but how we rejected wasn't really now looking the most sustainable, and it is looking a little bit more neutral at this point. I am still inclined to look for shorts because the DXY could go long. However, I do fully understand that we could go long, and this would make sense. I was originally, my bias was looking for longs. The question now is this just becoming accumulation for something like this? So you can't cross that out and say that's not, but then this is just one big corrective squeeze here, and then you don't really want to be stuck in that price action. So just bear that in mind. Going to the 1, like I said, to eliminate risk, I'm just going to wait for a trade here. I think for me that eliminates the most risk, and I'll be better happy taking a trade here. There was the potential for this inside here, but like I said, it's above the low. Not something I'm going to be looking for. So this will be one of the lower risk trades, but definitely going to have that on watch. New Zealand yen, like I said with the other yen pairs, and I'll zoom out on this one, you can see that there is potential for this to go higher. You know, I would say that even here and here are your sort of areas of interest. Just, yeah, don't get caught in on the sell so quickly. There is the potential, but like I said, some of these sells are already ready. Some of these yen pairs are not ready yet, so we need a bit of a push. If this, yeah, like I said, just be careful with it because it's one of those ones. I think honestly, if I was going to look for the sell, and I was kind of eyeing it up, is I would look for it here, push down, oops, push up, say, push back down, get a flag. You know, you could probably take it in here, but then you run the risk of this going in like this, and then boom, you know, we go up again, and that's the only thing. So then you have to ask yourself about what would the typical sequence of this to the downside look like, because we're not trading into or from a value area, we're trading below 1, so the higher time frame picture is still pointing that we're going up. So in order for us to go up, we need to accumulate value on the way down for us to push higher. And I'll put that with the other Swiss yen. I think, have a little look at this one. Yeah, so this is one that I do like as well, USD CAD. So I think with USD CAD we do have a value area here and a value area here, which we've really tapped into. If we go to the daily, you can see that we came in with a 1, 2, 3 into that daily value area, broke above, retraced, pushed down aggressively, but we didn't get the commitment, and now we're just correctively squeezing back up. I would like to see if we do come in back up here, we push a little bit higher to tap into this area. It's possible. Maybe this structure could be slightly higher. Like I said, this is one where it's a little bit too early to tell, but we could see something like this where, you know, price comes in over here, we have a 1 sort of near miss, pushes down, pushes back up, correctively squeezes away, and then comes in for the third touch, and then we sell. It's possible. Like I said, this can correctively move whilst the DXY goes long before it goes short, so I do like that a lot. I just don't think it'll be ready this week. I think next week it will be ready, so I'm going to put that as a next week trade for me, to be honest. USD yen likewise. This one, out of all the yen pairs, if I was to pick one, this would be it, really and truly. If I was going to pick a yen pair, I'm more than happy to take this one on board, but understand that now it's the time for the market to really start tricking people, taking people out of the market. So this could even take a week, 2 weeks before it's ready. Even though we're so close, this is the times where I've now learned that you need to be super patient in these areas, but not just saying that you're going to be super patient, but actually just understanding why. Because what can happen is we do this, and then next thing you know, end of the month, boom. You know, you're just looking at this and you're thinking, wow, astonishing. So like I said, eyes on the DXY, but definitely worth having UJ on watch. Certainly, I think for the case of that, I would filter out Swiss yen and New Zealand yen at this point, and I would go for UJ only because UJ usually is trading on its own merit, and most probably it's going to be better than Swiss yen. Swiss yen can be very corrective as well. New Zealand yen, it's not coming into a major value area. Oh, what else did I take off? Not too sure. I'll have to go back and check it. And then Aussie Swiss. I was looking at this as a continuation to the downside. I do like it. I really do think it has potential. How much do I have on already? So I have 8, 2, that's 10. Yeah, 2 more, 11, 12. So let's have a little look. I don't think I want EuroCAD. Yeah, I don't think I want it. I'm going to leave EuroCAD out, even though we have this, and there's the potential for the pullback in this area. It's one of those ones, I think, where situational. EuroCAD does look like it has some potential as well. I do think that there could be some good positions on here, but I'm just curious to know if we do sell, is this the point where we're going to sell from? And I don't think so. So I think for that reason, I'm going to take EuroCAD out. Okay, just before I filter that one in, I want to compare it to some indices. So we'll look at UK 100 quick. I've already analyzed most of these, so I'm quite happy with them. Yeah, pretty happy with that. So just gonna have a brief little click through it. Come from a value area, pushing back up. US 100 is looking okay, good. US 30, not really. Ooh. US 500. US 500 actually looks pretty good. Yeah, mistrade though. Interesting stuff. I do think there is an element of potential, but then we'll be trading here into that. I think that's my area of interest up here. Yep. Now the real question I have is, how long is that going to take? If I look at it on a daily perspective, we could get there pretty quickly. This week we're looking at what? So we're looking at the 12th to 13th to the 17th. So we've got the 13th all the way down to the 17th, which will be here. Yeah, I think the DAX could definitely be one I'm going to put on soft watch for sure. I don't really care about this structure. I would want to see price come into this area and then reject. Give me a continuation on the 1 hour, and then we go. So it would look a little bit. Yeah, happy with that. Very happy with that. I'd go for that for sure. Yeah, I wouldn't really be entertaining much more else on that. And commodities, I know US oil had a massive run last week, which was really good. But I'm not looking for US oil. Silver, these definitely have some long potential in them. I wouldn't be surprised if they do go, but wow. Okay, let's go to US oil. This is the one I'm interested in. So we've big momentum to the downside. Yeah, broke below, smashed through it, and now we're just looking at this. I'd look for a 3-touch personally. I'll be waiting for this to come back down, and then boom, comes back up, and then we sell. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that for sure, but I think, yeah, let me think. This is yeah, I think I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking this is one big range to continue to the upside. I think the oil industry is losing a lot of money somehow. That's why we keep going in these major declines. Something we're not being told. Nice. And then just, sorry, video cut off for a second. Just add in over the pairs. So I took off Aussie Swiss and I put on soft watch, oil and Germany 30, and let's have a little look here. So these two, so I haven't gone through these yet, so I'll just quickly go through those, which is basically GBP USD. GBP USD, you can see that we tapped into this value area, we strongly pushed away, and now we're kind of in between this range. Within this range we are looking for short positions, but we understand that we are in the middle of the range and this can get larger and complex. For that reason, you don't want to be just jumping on any old trade, but this could be more than enough over here. So basically looking to see if we come in here and then we sell. Very simple, very straightforward, and it was looking pretty good over here when we did have this sort of descend here, but it just failed to commit, and I did have a trade here within this candle here to go short, but then I think as we came back up here it was just taken out, so it is what it is. So yeah, that one's definitely going to be on watch. And then we've got this one, which is Euro GBP, which we've just tapped into this liquidity area, which is very nice, which we came in with a 1, 2, 3. There was liquidity sitting in this area here, which we've basically just taken out, and now we've come back in with this. I think this is now the run that I'm going to be looking for to go short. This is probably my #1 favorited one for this week, if we can get that commitment. So I was eyeing this up to see if we go there. This has now become the sort of range per se. I think the 1 hour paints it a little bit better, and I'll be looking at something more so like this. So throughout the week next week, probably we might sell off before we get a chance. So either if we get something pushed down, creates it down here, fine, fair enough, could continue to go. But if we do kind of come back up into this, then I could be looking for an entry in this area here to then go short. Obviously I wouldn't just jump on a trade straight away. I would evaluate to see how we get there, and then when we do get there, that's when we can actually start looking to go short. So remember, there could be opportunities down here, down here, down here, but we're very early in the run, so the probability of these playing out is much higher until we start getting into these areas where things can get a little bit larger. So overall, if we go off and now we look at what we have on watch, we can just put them into their sections. I will organize them towards the end, but I think more than likely now I'm just going to filter through and I will see which ones I want to have where. So Euro USD, I have to put Euro USD over there. EA, happy with that. AU, happy with that. AN, definitely. Aussie CAD, GBP CAD. Yeah, overall don't really have much on watch. These can even get pushed over here. I can just close off the soft watch tab. Yeah, that's interesting. You know, when you think you'd have a lot after filtering, took them out. Do you know what? I could, and I really could if I wanted to right now, is, and I might, I'll be honest with you, I might just do it. Okay, Aussie Swiss. Let me get Aussie Swiss. Where is it? Put it on here. Do you know, I wanted Aussie Swiss, but I thought I had too much. Turns out I don't really have a lot. And I'll put Aussie Swiss towards the bottom of the list there. I'll be looking at it like this. I think I'll look at it like this. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 on 5, and then 2 extra. So total gives me 12. Pretty good. Yeah, pretty happy with that watch list. I think you can kind of see how I kind of came back and put it all together, and I went through the steps of, you know, picking out the ones that I liked yesterday and then going through the additional ones on top. You can see, like, if you just did it all on one day, you very much leave room for mistake. And yes, it's really good. So that's basically my top 6 and my additional pairs, and then my soft watch. So I'm not going to do any annotations today. I'll usually leave that for tomorrow, enjoy the process and whatnot, and then we'll go through that. So like I said, next week is going to be looking phenomenal. This is probably the best one so far. So I think if you are considering watch list and you don't have EG on there, I can guarantee that EG should definitely be on there, trust me. So guys, have a lovely week. Be looking for shorts on this, of course, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care, guys, and have a good week ahead.